Hello again. Today I'd like to talk to you about why it's so important to detoxify your body rather than just having a healthy diet or adding those greens and vegetables to your everyday diet. Having said that, I'm not saying that is wrong, but what most of the time people have difficulty to understand, and they experience unwanted reaction by their body, from their body, is when they transition and they discipline themselves to add more greens, more fruit, cut off white sugar and processed foods into the diet. Now, after having done that kind of toxic diet for many years, and now I'm going to tell you why just changing your diet is not gonna happen. It's gonna help you unless you detoxify first. Now, imagine our body as a system, as a let's say as an engine of a car, right? So you got the engine of a car, and that is designed to run on a certain fuel. Now, for some reason, that car, you run that car on a fuel that is of the lowest quality for many years. Now, the engine is not broken. The engine just adapts itself to run on that particular fuel. Now, if suddenly you start pumping up, the best quality fuel, well, the damage, like the clogging, the clogging of the mechanism of the engine, it won't be solved. You're just making probably, the engine, the system won't recognize that good food, that new good fuel, as it would be if it was clean, as it would be if the system was new and you started introducing that food from scratch. The reason why this happens in the human body is because throughout years and years of processed food, of insertion of all sorts of products that are not for human consumption. And many products nowadays are being labeled legal, and they got permission to get introduced and therefore sold in the food market. Many years ago they were labeled unsuitable for human consumption, and the biggest one is white flour, 1929, and then we got so many preservatives, we got additives, we got colorings, which doesn't matter if it's natural colorings. Some colorings, they're absolutely bad, and you can imagine that why, because they inhibit, they change the state of the actual organic matter of the food, so the food could be completely dead, rotten and carcinogenic, and you're still eating because it's some colorings or stuff like that. So what happened? All these materials, waste, get accumulated into our system under the form of mucus or intestinal plaque. Now, this plaque that stays around the intestinal walls prevents the vills of the intestine and even the stomach to absorb the little and the tiniest, the slightest nutrients that are available, for example, from a nice green juice. That's why most of the people, it's so common when people they want to change their lifestyle and they want to kick their life towards a better option. Instead of having that morning coffee, they go and choose for a green smoothie, full green, no apple, no fruit, no sugar whatsoever. And sure enough, after a few hours, they start feeling gassy, bloated, and maybe even tummy pain, and they say, what's going on? I might just rather go back to coffee. This didn't work. Well, that's the thing, because the body hasn't been detoxified. So detoxified means cleaning the system and resetting the body to say, okay, now I've abused yourself for a long time, now I'm gonna clean yourself inside. So as soon as I will put back the real, whole, natural foods in, you're able to pick it up straight away and recognize, and therefore absorb with no any friction, any cellular disorder, because that's what happened. There's disorder, there's chaos on a subcellular level. When you have all this plaque made of rotting, processed material and chemicals compound, and then you introduce the juice of an apple or a broccoli. I mean, the body say, yeah, all right, maybe better than a beer or another coffee, but at the same time, it doesn't know how to process and how to absorb fully this material. Plus, if you have lots of fungus and parasite and bacteria inside, and you introduce just raw food, because green vegetable is just full of enzymes, hasn't been cooked, it can ferment and just become a really good field for growing bacteria such as candida and all sorts of other stuff. So I will be coming more later on with more things in details, but about the cleanse you can do. But cleanse, really, it doesn't mean extreme cleanse, but just really little things, like, for example, intermittent fasting. Like one day a week you commit to go only on water, and there's no excuse. Almost everyone can do that. I mean, unless you are really serious health issues and you have like blood, the blood levels that they are really bad, and you are relying on several medication daily. Everyone can do that. It doesn't matter if you're 95 kilos or you're like 10 kilos overweight or 15. You can do that for 24 hours. You won't. Nothing won't happen. You probably feel tired because the body is detoxifying. That's the only way. So that's one way. Otherwise, it takes time. It depends how strict you want to be with yourself, but start introducing, drink more water, drink more water, cut off all these bloating and constipating foods, that they sit there and they ferment there, and they're not easy, assimilable and pooable, if you want to call it like that, So after a while that you do that, of course, colon cleanse is a great way as well, or maybe drinking salt water for flushing all the system is another great way. Slowly, your body start become clean, and when you realize that it's clean, when you have a food that you would love for, and you don't have this cold from your mouth, this desire. Like your mouth doesn't start getting wet and salivated, like, oh, I want this food. You don't crave that food anymore. That here is a reflection of what's happening here inside the old guts, from the stomach to the large intestine to the small intestine, everything. So once you have that, you don't crave that pizza, you don't crave that pasta Alfredo, you don't crave that lasagna, you don't crave that bread with melted cheese on top. That's really good sign. And of course, depending on how your diet was and your lifestyle and how committed you are, you may take different times, but that's the way. You wanna change your lifestyle, do a cleanse. Any kind of cleanse. Don't just cut off and say, all right, I cut off red meat, I cut off burgers, and I add 2 more greens. It won't change. It won't change. You want to get rid of the toxicity first, and then you want to start putting the good stuff in. I hope I inspire you guys. That's my really big thing. That's why people, they are so mad, because they spend thousands of dollars on all these low-fat diet and all these lies about high-fat, low-fat, and vegetarian veganism and powders and soy proteins and blah 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 to lose weight. Some people, they go for months just drinking liquid powders, right? They're not eating anything, so they stop completely the bowel movement. Then when they go back to solid food, they put double the weight on, because it's all, the system says, what's going on? Detoxify, cleanse. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's the only way to do it. The old great masters from the past, Pythagoras, Leonardo da Vinci, Ptolemies, every great, Alexander the Great, Jesus, Buddha, all of them, they did that. And the environment, think about it, was much cleaner than what it is now. I hope you guys like this video. Please feel free to share it, and I'll talk to you soon.